Albert A. Wall, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 220 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. How's it going, guys? Happy Mother's Day.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day to your wives and moms and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so actually, I know everybody's hearing this after Mother's Day, but we are actually recording on Mother's Day, so
yeah,
we should acknowledge the mothers out there. So a lot of whom listen to us, right? So, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Just so we're clear, we're not this isn't affecting our plans.
What do you mean?
We're not. Well, I'm like we have Mother's Day stuff
plans.
Planned. Okay, well, we have Mother's Day stuff planned, but this is not impacting
because it's early for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll do things. I mean, we don't really have plans of doing anything today, to be totally honest. My wife just kind of wants to just not do anything, really.
I mean, isn't that the best Mother's Day that could exist?
Yeah, I think so.
You clean, take care of the kid, and your wife gets to sit around and relax.
Yeah, I made some breakfast this morning. It's made some bacon and some French toast.
My son actually made breakfast this morning, so I didn't even have to do that.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that's nice. You know what I did this morning? I'm like a crazy person when it comes to bacon. Like I really love really crispy bacon. I mean, I feel like everybody likes crispy bacon, right? Like, no, do people like undercooked bacon?
Yeah,
you like undercooked bacon?
I like it.
Not undercooked, like but little... right at that soft level. Cooked but soft.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like not like brittle crispy, but still's got a little bit of
absolutely
chew to it. Yeah.
See,
Tom makes these overarching statements and then has to pull back immediately.
No, I'm not pulling back on that at all. I feel like
you just said. Let's
no. I'm not pulling back on that at all. No, I'm not pulling back on that at all. If you
said that, who doesn't like crispy bacon? Me and Trevor just said we don't.
You two. I'm shocked. Exactly. I'm shocked by this. I don't know a single person outside of you two that doesn't like crispy bacon. So
you're making me choke on my tea. Stop it.
Yeah, that's crazy. You don't know another single person that doesn't.
I don't. No, not one that's told me. Everyone in my family likes crispy bacon. We don't have undercooked stringy bacon. No.
No one says it's undercooked, and no one says it's stringy. It's just not burnt.
Oh no, I don't like it burnt. I just like I like when I take a bite into it.
Do you think crispy bacon is?
Well, no, it's not. It's not burnt. You can have crispy bacon without it being burnt.
All right, sure, Tom. All right,
very fine.
No, I don't want it burnt either. I don't like burnt. No, it's got to be crispy.
Oh boy!
Exactly, Trevor. Sometimes you just got to go with it.
Yeah, we went to a weird place real quick.
What? Talking about crispy bacon? Yeah. I'm just saying, if you look at places advertising their bacon, no one ever says, undercooked chewy bacon.
Who said undercooked? Trevor, did you say undercooked?
No, it's not undercooked. It just doesn't shatter when you bite it.
I don't want it to shatter. No, that's too far too. I like it crispy, not like like you're saying, like shattering. Like that's not good.
Yeah,
there's a difference between those two things.
Okay. Sure. All right. Moving on.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we were going with that.
You were cooking breakfast on Mother's Day.
Oh yeah.
As a great husband that you are.
I guess so. No, I think I'm just going to take my daughter somewhere today so my wife could just have some time to herself.
I'm going to clean. I think that's the second greatest Mother's Day gift is, cleaning.
My wife and I are playing the new Zelda game this afternoon.
All right.
That sounds way better than cleaning.
Yeah.
It really does sound a lot better.
It is good. It's nice. And actually, it's a whole family thing because we all like Zelda and we're all excited for Tears of the Kingdom. So that's how we decided we're spending at least part of our Mother's Day.
Well, that should be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, do we want to get into listener questions and stuff?
Yeah. Let's see what we got. I guess I can take this first one. So Justin says, favorite villain and creepiest villain. I guess they can be the same, but he says his favorite is Scar. I just love The Lion King, and the creepiest is Frollo due to him being the most real world possible villain, which, yeah, that's fair. My favorite villain, I guess I don't know if he's really or I guess he gets classified as a villain, but Chernobog from Fantasia is probably mine for Disney villains. Okay. And he's also creepy too. Like I think it covers both.
It's fair. I want to say that my favorite villain is probably, I don't know. Let's go with Hades from Hercules because he's like kind of funny and like, I don't know, got a whole thing. And I would say creepy is the guy from Princess and the Frog. I forget what his name is though.
Dr. Facilier.
Yeah, like that guy creeps me out. I don't like that guy at all.
Yeah, I
would agree with that. He's the creepiest.
Yeah,
favorite villain. I don't know, the dude from Meet the Robinsons, who's like, is he a villain? Is he? Again, I don't know if I classify him as a villain.
That's a good question. Is he a villain?
I mean, it's him. So can he be a villain and not a villain all at the same time?
Well, no, it's not him. I guess.
Yeah. No. But I'm saying, like, can he be a villain and not a villain at the same time?
Yeah,
because he kind of has a weird redemption arc, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got the redemption arc. He's like a redeemed villain. Right?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, we just get to see a lot of his life. Right, and his interaction as kind of, I mean, do you consider the other character a hero?
I mean, I guess, right? I mean,
he does the right thing for his friend.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's a weird one. But yeah.
If we're going to classify him as a villain, what is his name again anyway?
Goob is that's what they call him for short. I can't remember his full name.
Yeah. Man, I haven't watched that movie in a while. That's a really underrated Disney movie.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that not a lot.
Is there any of the Meet the Robinsons in the parks still left at all, ever, anywhere?
I think Goob shows up in some of the parades still.
Oh,
does he?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think actually at Halloween he's in Boo-to-You, I'm pretty sure. Or at least he was a couple.
So then we kind of we give him the classic villain category then, based on Disney's putting him in the parade, right?
Yeah, that's right. So he was in the beginning of the movie, he's bowler hat guy, right? And then it's Michael Yagubian. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, he's bowler hat guy for a while. Yeah,
because that movie in the beginning, is he really a villain?
I mean, kind of, but I mean, because he's trying to, he's trying to get revenge, right?
He has that Doofenshmirtz thing going on.
Yeah, like we see him as a kid, though, too, don't we?
Yeah, we see him as a kid, because he's...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so I mean, is he... I don't know.
It's a tough question. We ask the tough questions in the show.
I mean, it's the same thing with
we answer the tough questions.
It's the same thing that happens with Syndrome in The Incredibles.
But I consider him more of a villain. I feel,
but he starts off as like he wants to be the side.
Well, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've actually seen some things online where people say he's not really a villain in that movie because he's trying to give everybody superpowers and he's trying to, he's trying to.
Ignoring the fact that he murdered multiple people.
Well, listen, we need to ignore that. Okay, but listen. Yes, you're not wrong. I actually think Gaston's kind of a good villain too. I don't know. I don't mind Gaston.
He's a solid villain for sure. Like he ticks all the boxes for just straight up villain.
I'm a little disturbed that Justin's favorite is Scar though, because Scar is just like straight up evil. Like Scar's got no good motivation for being like he's just like he kills his brother.
But we're gonna find out why, right? Isn't there a prequel coming?
Oh yeah, I think there is one. Yeah.
So we can't really say too much until we see that. Maybe there was a good reason. We don't know.
Yeah,
a good reason for murdering the king
and also trying to murder his nephew.
Hold on, right? Like Julius Caesar. Like I don't know.
He not only killed his brother, but also tried to murder his nephew.
Maybe for the good of the nation. The lion
we don't know. Just we don't stop trying to justify it.
But Brutus murdering Julius Caesar, is that like you don't know?
Yeah,
people have been murdered in the government for the greater good, haven't they?
I don't know. This feels like a conversation we shouldn't
Yeah.
have.
This is treading into dangerous water. I think we should go to our next listener question.
Oh, this is so ridiculous. This show has gotten off to.
It all started with crispy bacon. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like you guys do like crispy bacon. You just don't like it burnt.
We don't.
And I don't like it burnt either.
We do not like. Well, I don't. I can speak for myself. I don't like crispy bacon. I like soft bacon, soft cooked bacon, aka closer to Canadian bacon than American bacon.
You like ham?
No.
Side with the Canadians on this.
I
actually think Canadian bacon's better anyway.
Canadian bacon is not ham.
Listen,
did Tom just call it ham?
I was joking. Yeah. Okay, that was a joke. Man. That was
always a kernel of truth in a joke, though.
Yeah. Well, some people do call it ham, just straight up call out ham, but I know it's not the same thing. I mean, it's different, right? So I let's get away from this conversation. I mean, we've talked enough about bacon already today. Where are we? Totally
Nathan.
Nathan, best DVC resort pools and why? That's number one.
Yeah, he's got like four.
He's got four questions in one.
Yeah. That's tough, man. None of the pools are good.
None of the pools are good.
None of the pools are at the level of a real. So it's funny. None of the pools are at the level of the resort, if that makes sense, right? So maybe besides the what's it called one. So like if you take and look at, let's say,
maybe you're saying like
yeah. But if you take a look at, let's say, a resort that we could put at the same level. Right? Like I would say the Gaylord Palms is at the same level as a high level Disney resort, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Go look at the pools at Gaylord Palms versus the pools that we have at resorts. Like I don't think there is really a great resort pool for the level of hotel that you're staying at. And that is disappointing. And then the only thing that was good was the creepy clown pool, not because of the pool, but because of the creepy clownness. Actually, and if you take a look at, like, let's say even Universal at like their pool for Royal Pacific, it's the same thing. Like it is definitely a spot that I don't like think that Disney does extremely well at. But then again, I don't know if you're at Disney, like you're kind of just going like dip pool out. Like I don't necessarily know if you need that, but I still think that for such a fixed cost, I don't know why they're not a little bit better. But they also have the water parks, but so do other places. Like I don't know. I just feel like if they were just a teeny bit nicer, it might also control a little bit more of the park. People, I guess maybe not a ton, but a little bit more, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I don't really need. Go ahead, Trevor.
Sorry, I was going to say, I think kind of to what you're saying, Damon, I think that's actually the reason why Disney doesn't make the pools better, because
it might be.
If the pool was the feature of the resort, people wouldn't go to the parks. And for the same reason that they have the water parks, is that they don't want, the pools need to be good, but they shouldn't be the best thing about the resort, because then people don't leave the resort.
But I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing, though, is it?
No.
Well, I mean, from our point of view, no, it's not. But like for somewhere like Gaylord Palms, they want you staying there. They don't want you.
All right, so I'll give you that one. But then look at, let's say, the Royal Pacific. Their pool's dope. Like, and that's at Universal. And you can actually, from where the Royal Pacific is, you can actually walk to Universal, right? So you're pretty close. And they do have a water park there. I don't know, man. I would just like just a little bit more. Like you have like these Imagineers and you have like all these super, people at Disney. Man, just like give me something. Like give me something dope. Like give me something cool. And again, right? Like, yeah, I get you. They maybe don't want you at the pool all the time, but I mean, I don't know. I just like give me like a notch up, man. That's all I'm looking for. But that's just me. I think that would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the pools. I don't really. I mean, I really do like the pool at Boardwalk. Just even without the creepy clown, I like the whole design where it kind of looks like the slide kind of looks like a roller coaster kind of thing. I mean, of course, everyone would say beach club, right? Like that's. I've never even stayed there, but I've walked by the pool
either.
and what's that?
I have not either.
Yeah. But I mean,
it's hard to get into. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, but it's considered, the best pool, I think, probably. But I like the pool that's at at Animal Kingdom. I like those pools too. So both resorts at Animal Kingdom are nice. But what about Poly? Poly's got a kind of a cool pool, doesn't it?
It has a good pool for sure. The funny thing is like the more that I'm thinking about this, like the way a lot of Disney resorts are structured is that they have multiple pools. So if you look at it, most of them have, like, even the Poly has the main pool is nice, and it has the one water slide, and it's great. It's great to entertain the kids for an afternoon. But theming wise, it fits in with the rest of the Poly. It's like I'm actually looking at the Royal Pacific pool that you were talking about, Damon, and I can see why you say that's a really good pool, because it actually almost looks closer to like Typhoon Lagoon than it does to just a pool.
Like a bunch of slides and stuff.
Well, what's really cool is, Trevor, while you're kind of looking, just look at the Gaylord Palms pool. They added a few things to it. It's almost like a water park at the resort now. But I get those places have to bring people in, because if you're not staying in the bubble, you got to have something to not, to be why you're not staying in the bubble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to have like something to attract people.
Some draw, yeah. But the Royal Pacific is in Universal. That's the only comparison I make. I kind of dig that pool. Thought it was always kind of fun. It's themed really well. That's the level maybe if Disney would do in some of their resorts. But yeah, I get it. I get it. You can't have everything, but that seems like it's not, it doesn't seem like it's a huge cost difference in the scheme of things.
But to add like a nice pool, like it wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say take the pools you have and change them, but if you're building new, but then I guess they must fall into this weird sort of trap when you have like all these resorts, right? And then let's just say, for argument's sake, they made Swiss Family Robinson Resort, right? And the pool was just off the chain. Mm-hmm. No one would want to stay anywhere else. Like they're almost kind of like stuck a little bit.
Well, that's kind of the problem with Beach Club, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the problem with Beach Club. The Beach Club pool is so good that it's impossible to stay there, right? Like,
and then what happens if you did, Swiss Family Resort with a pool better than Beach Club? Are you then making Beach Club not as, desirable? And what does that mean then? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like Disney just doesn't, or like DVC specifically, just doesn't do like the crazy pools, like it's more of like I feel like they make like more like adult pools, weirdly enough. You know what I mean? Where it's like more about just like lounging and
cooling off.
Dip. Yeah, it's not like like some of them are fairly, are pretty like super themed. Like, there's that sandcastle water slide thing at Old Key West. Okay. But like
that's actually pretty good. That makes it's more like a Vero Hilton Head pool.
Caribbean Beach has that too, even though it's not a deluxe resort.
Well, and even what's it called is Saratoga's pools are kind of nice because there's multiples.
Yeah,
and their water slides are pretty good.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, like I said, I like the two pools. One of the cool things about the pool at Animal Kingdom at Jambo, like there's animals like right outside the pool, which is kind of cool. But like it doesn't have all those water slide features and all that stuff. But the one at why am I blanking on the Kidani has like a little kid water park over there. It says it's not like slides and stuff, but it's like water cannons and waterfalls and like it's almost like a water playground kind of thing. But it's not anything crazy, So anyway,
yeah.
I feel like we've answered a bunch of these questions before, but which DVC resort would you choose for a non-park staycation? Well, Damon's about to do a non-park staycation, so. But I've said this before. I think Animal Kingdom is great for that because of the animals. So
I'm still going one day, but I can listen. I think that can we get on board with a 1 day at EPCOT is still a non-parks vacation? I feel like
that's
not even in like a mean way, just in a like I think maybe
it's not the focus of your trip.
Absolutely not. I think to be honest with you, the Gaylord Palms water park could be the focus of the trip right now. I would say, I think I'm at Old Key West, to be honest with you. Bigger rooms, cheaper points. So like, I'm not like freaking out because I'm not going to the parks, right? It's less points, which I guess could be the opposite of what other people might suggest is like, hey, go to Riviera or something high points because you're not. But no, I don't think so. For me, nope. I think I'd be at Old Key West.
To your point, Damon, like I've been my wife and I are kind of wrestling with this whole thing of, we're going to do a vacation next year with her sister and, and brother-in-law. And
Godspeed and good luck.
Well, but that's the thing. We want to get a grand villa, right? So, and we were looking and it was like, oh, it'd be great because we have all these kids and, it'd be great to do Animal Kingdom. But at the same time, if we're going to do a Savannah View Animal Kingdom Grand Villa, it's a lot of points. Whereas for way less points, we can get a grand villa at Saratoga or Old Key. Like way less points, like a significant amount. So it's like, what do we do?
Well, this is the other thing I'm going to tell you. And it's funny. So we were having a discussion so my oldest girlfriend was over here making cookies for him because I'm going to pick him up from school tomorrow. Right. And we were kind of talking about like vacations because for whatever reason, they don't really vacation that much because they play ridiculous amounts of golf. So they just kind of play golf, right? Whatever. And then I'm scrolling through my Amazon photos, kind of looking, and I'm like, hey, so we went to Disney. So when my kids, let's say from 2 to 10, we went twice a year to Disney, right? And I'm like, hey, do you remember that? Nope. Do you remember that? Nope. Do you remember that? Nope. So I got to so that was from, let's say, 2 to 6. And then at 7, I kind of remember, that's the thing, right? Like when you're talking about your kids are so much younger, like, what does it even matter? Stay at the cheaper place, man.
Yeah, it's kind of what we're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, and we already
they'll still have a good time is the thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not opposed to the Saratoga, to staying at Saratoga. Like I said, I mean, and the rooms are bigger and, they're...
man, Old Key West, I think for me, I'd take over Saratoga at this point, even though I like Saratoga, but I just think even better. So...
Well, I mean, there's no way we're doing this vacation without a grand villa, right? Like, because there's
I think you're still better off doing multiple rooms, but hey, man.
Oh, doing separate rooms?
Yeah, I think so, but what do I know?
I mean, we could do that. I mean, it's not off the table. We haven't really booked anything yet. We don't even know when we're going to go.
So here's an interesting discussion, right? So so my parents have this come up an awful lot where they're going to go to Disney or Hilton Head or Vero or somewhere like that, and they're going to bring friends, right? But they're using points. Then what?
Yeah.
Do you charge them DVC rental prices? Do you charge that or do you not charge them at all? Do you have it? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but I can tell you if you're all getting your own rooms, which you don't have to do.
Yeah, no, listen, I get that. So when we almost always have family come with us, right? So for us, part of the reason we bought DVC was to do these vacations with our family. And, we don't expect them to pay anything, to us. Most of the time they'll pay for a meal or two or whatever. And that's fine with us. You pay for the rest of your vacation. We've got the points anyway. So, the reason we bought DVC was to do vacations with our family. So we don't really look at it that way, but I get what you're saying though. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll do separate rooms. I don't know.
I guess, yeah, I see what Damon's saying. Cause even on the last trip I took with my parents, we actually did separate rooms and yeah, it was just because we could have gotten a room and we could have had 5 of us in the room, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's effectively 2 families, it's better to have, or in my opinion, it's better to have that privacy. Again, different people, different travel situations. And, in your case, a Grand Villa may be enough privacy, you all have your own rooms and whatnot. So that may be enough. For us, we just liked, we could kind of come and go as we pleased and didn't have to worry about if we were disturbing my parents, I guess was the thinking. Cause they have their own schedule. And actually, honestly, they're the ones that were getting up way earlier than us. So they were able to go and get coffee, do breakfast, whatever. And then they met us later. So yeah, I see where 2 rooms is better, but then, yeah, the Grand Villa thing is very cool though. And also, I guess if your travel party is, if you can all be in the same area for an extended period of time, I guess that's that's probably the bigger deciding factor because not everybody can do that. Right.
Well, I think the bigger problem though is right. regardless, my wife and I are going to stay, and my daughter are going to stay at a deluxe resort, right? So if we don't include them in our plans, then they either, for them to be at the same resort with us, would have to pay cash prices for a deluxe resort, which is a lot of money, for most people, right? So for me, it's like, I don't want to, unless I book them a separate room on points, and then, kind of what Damon was talking about before, it's like, I guess I could book them a separate room using our points, but I don't know. It feels better to me to have us all in one place. But I mean, and like you said, we'll each have our own room. So like, we'll still have our own privacy. It's just the common areas that are really, an issue. But, with those grand villas though, too, the floors, the rooms that are on the second floor, they have their own entrance. Like there's an entrance on the first floor and on the second floor. So like you could completely come in separately, and people wouldn't, people downstairs wouldn't even know that you were coming in. So, it's, I don't know. We'll see what we're going to do. I don't really know yet. We've just been talking about it. So,
yeah. That's fair.
All right. So, how did you first hear about DVC? I actually first heard about it from my my soon-to-be brother-in-law's parents. Were DVC members, and they have a ton of points, and they told me all about it. So that's where I first heard about it, and probably just at the park too. I mean, I think I probably heard about it from the park. So, Trevor, what are you laughing about?
I realized the first time I ever thought about DVC was actually walking through the Grand Californian in Disneyland, because we were there for our second trip with our son, and we were staying there, and we walked by it, and I kind of turned to my wife and I was like, we should look into that, because, we seem to be coming here a lot, and we were planning to come here a lot more. So then that kind of started me down looking into DVC. So it like what you said, it was literally just walking by a DVC booth was what kind of sparked me to start learning about DVC.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely like,
booth at EPCOT over before, I know exactly where it was too, right? Like, so it was the booth on the right before you get into the World Showcase.
I know which one you're talking about. It's right on that bridge right there. That like,
yeah, man.
Yep. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Over between Imagination Pavilion going towards, or
were you talking about coming
World
straight
Showcase?
from the middle of the park?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Do we want to answer this last? I feel like we should move on to Francisco.
Yeah.
All right. So Francisco wants to know
we've done this before, man.
The ideal theme restaurant.
Yeah, we can skip it. We've done it before. Go listen to.
Why don't we save that for a potential wait list? Because I think we could expand on that too.
Okay, sure, we can do that. Well, Dan wants to know what our favorite live show we've seen in any of the parks.
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
Great.
Lion King. Once you've seen Lion King on Broadway. Actually, I think even the live shows on the cruises are better than the parks.
Really?
Yeah.
Not a fan of like Indiana Jones or anything?
I mean, is that really a live show?
Yeah, that's a live show.
I feel like that's a ride.
That's what you mean.
Well, it's both.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right at Disneyland, it's a show at Disney World.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm going to say that, and I've said this before, I used to love the Lights Motor Action show that was at Hollywood Studios that got torn down for Toy Story Land / Star Wars Land. I used to love that show. I just thought it was really cool.
I actually have a tie for mine.
All right.
Now that I think about it. So Aladdin at the Hyperion Theater in California Adventure was fantastic. Partly because the genie was able to break the fourth wall a lot during the show. So that made it like kind of unique and fun every time you saw it. And then the other one that I actually really liked was Mickey and the Magical Map, which was in Disneyland at back near Toontown. A very, very unique show. They're like, you'll have to go watch a YouTube of it. It's kind of interesting how they did it, because it's like a 3-part stage that they work on, and it's a combination of like CG effects and the live action. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, those are my two favorites.
I mean, it's funny because I kind of consciously like removed nighttime shows from this, even though I feel like that should count too. Like Fantasmic should count in this. I think, right?
Oh yeah. Fantasmic's a live show, I guess.
Yeah,
it is, because it's performed live every time.
Yeah, because that's probably my favorite. I would say Phantasmic's my favorite, but I mean, I always really liked Lights Motor Action too. I was really sad when that went away. That was like a one that we always went to. So I know I'm like the only one that has nostalgia for that one for some reason, but I just thought it was a super cool show. There was explosions, there was cars doing all sorts of crazy stunts, and I don't know.
Yeah, it was a fun show. I guess it was probably the least Disney show. I guess is the only thing.
Yeah, 100%. Like it wasn't. It was still like when the park was under the premise of the behind the scene, like the movie making behind the scenes backlot thing, right?
MGM
like
stuff.
Yeah, because like the backlot tour was still going on then, and like the whole premise of that show was like this is how we do car stunts in movies, right? Like that's so like it fit in the theme of Hollywood studios at the time. But as they've moved away from that, it really didn't fit anymore. So, yeah. So anyway. All right. So on to DVC news. And I'm kind of like, I feel like I learn new stuff about DVC all the time. And I don't know how I've never heard of this, or maybe I have heard about it and I just forgot about it. Have you guys heard of this whole Magical Beginnings thing?
Mm-hmm.
Have I not heard about this? I know nothing about this.
We actually talked about this with our guide when we were first buying DVC. That we knew this was an option, but we certainly were not going to use it because we want to use our points. So the whole thing around Magical Beginnings is that you can get a discount on buying into DVC by basically selling back your first year's worth of points. So you delay using your contract by a year to save some money up front.
Yeah, and the current offer is 22 per point, right? So
yeah,
that's part of why we're talking about this. But the current credit they have is 22 per point, and they mention here, that like the villas at Disneyland Hotel is 230 per point. So if you do 150 points, the current promotion is $20 discount per point, and then you can reduce the cost by another $22 by doing this Magical Beginnings, sacrificing your first year points. I don't know. I just never heard it. I don't know why I'd never heard of this. I just didn't know this was even an option. I don't remember talking about this with my guide. I feel very like, how do I not know about this? Or maybe I just forgot. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems very, in the case of like the Disneyland Hotel, I guess if you're not planning to go there for the next 2 years, yeah, it could make sense. But I think a lot of people would not take advantage of this, or like I could see it if you're adding on and you're not planning to make use of it. That's where I think this holds the most value, because like you've already got points to use. But if it was like your first contract, I can see why you didn't even remember. Like I barely remembered this.
Yeah.
And it was only because like our guide was pretty good about like like we were talking about pricing and stuff. And he was like, well, you could do this to save some money. And we looked at it and we're like, no, because we actually want to go next year.
Points.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we were like that too. So like, I don't even think that was ever an option in our mind, but it makes total sense if you're going to do something like you said, where if, you're in the middle of your vacation now, you're talking to your guide and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to come back until, late next year. And it's like, oh, okay, we'll sell your points back to us. And it feels like it's a good way for like the guide to like close a sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I saw that. It's not really news, I guess, because it's something that exists, but that's what the current promotion is $22 off. So
I guess for anybody listening, yeah, if you are kind of going back and forth, this may push it over the edge to, justify buying in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, so the next thing we've got here is Disney's released the full concert list for Eat to the Beat concert series, which is what happens during the International Food and Wine Festival. It's funny because I was like, wait, didn't we go over these already? Like, is this old news? And then I forgot it was for the Flower and Garden Festival that we went over, not for Food and Wine. So just going through here, so first of all, I see Ray Parker Jr. on here, and I'm thinking to myself, there's only one Ray Parker Jr. song that I know. And I mean, I'm assuming it's the one that most people know of, right? It's the Ghostbusters song.
I was going to ask, who are you going to call if you don't know which song it
okay.
is?
You were going to do a joke? I thought for a second this was another situation where you guys were like, what are you talking about? I don't know who.
No, I knew. I was just seeing if I could find a good time to work it in. But
I mean, I know he has other hits. I just in my mind, I always go to Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I wonder if does he play that in concert? Like, does that? I'd go see him just to see him play Ghostbusters.
I feel like, it's a good way to hook people in, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play the Ghostbusters song. I also see the Baja Men on this list, which again,
that's another one that.
I mean, they only have the one song, right?
Yeah.
So like they have to play that song, right? Like,
yeah. What about Tiffany?
Oh, Tiffany's a good one. Tiffany's a good one.
It's a good 80s throwback.
Yeah, it is. Does Tiffany have more than? I mean, how many hits did they have? Just one?
Let me see if I recognize it. Yeah, I think we're alone now. Yeah, I don't recognize any of these other songs. Yeah.
Oh man. Now I'm trying to see who else is in here. Let's see who else we got here. Wait, do I see 98 Degrees? Like, the actual 98 Degrees?
98 Degrees followed by Boys to Men.
Wow, quite a lineup from September 24th to October 2nd. Look at that.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking for some 90s boy bands, that's the time to go. I'm
surprised the 98 Degrees is still out there doing it. I thought that they were way done.
Well,
what's that?
I was going to say, why would you think they're done? Like, if you look at like Backstreet Boys and not Backstreet Boys, what's the other one?
NSYNC?
No.
Are you not talking about NSYNC?
Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on it now?
I don't know.
No, yeah, Backstreet Boys. Yeah, sorry, I had it that right.
Yeah, you had it right.
Okay. I was thinking New Kids on the Block, but I was.
Oh yeah.
Putting So yeah, Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. Yeah, like they are still, doing stuff. So why wouldn't 98 Degrees?
I just assume that Nick Lachey has better things to do. I don't know why I assume that. I mean, I feel like he's the only one that's really had a career after that, right? Like
But it's a couple of days too, right?
That's true.
And I guess the thing maybe to look at it, like, because we did this for when we did the Flower and Garden stuff. I think it was Smash Mouth we looked at, where it was nobody from the original band was playing in it anymore. so yeah, that could be one of those kind of situations.
Well, there's also, I mean, and first of all, Boyz II Men, I feel like is still a fairly big act, right? Like, I feel like my wife saw them a couple of years ago in like an arena, like, so I'm kind of impressed that they have them there. But they also have Sugar Ray is going to be there.
Yeah, actually, October is pretty stacked.
It
not
is.
Gonna lie. Yeah, Sugar Ray, Hoobastank, Air Supply, and Taylor Dane all back to back.
And excuse me, you forgot Hanson.
Sorry, I missed Hanson. I'm sorry.
You forgot Hanson. Again, another group I did not think was doing it anymore.
Oh no, I've actually seen. Weirdly enough, I saw a YouTube video a while ago of that. Like, they're still like doing stage performances and stuff.
Are they really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought they were just done, but yeah, I also see 38 Special on here, which I feel like my parents would be very excited about 38 Special being there. They're actually ending the festival, so they're the very end here. So they've got some pretty decent bands in this go around. I feel like they saved the good bands for Food and Wine, and like, Flower and Garden gets all the people nobody knows.
So here's something to be very careful of.
What?
You're saying, I think they've got some pretty good bands. Is it that these bands are good, or is it that you're getting older and these bands are falling into the classics, and that it's just showing your age more than anything?
Yeah. I mean, that's
you know what I'm saying, right? Like, your kids are not excited to see these bands. Like a lot of kids don't know any of this other than what their parents have, exposed them to. This is entirely like this is entirely playing to the adults, right?
Oh yeah, no, but I feel like all of them are, right? Like they don't ever have like a huge band on here, right? Like I don't know. I mean,
Well,
they've the most.
But I guess the point is,
yeah, I get what
like you're talking about, like, well, these bands, it seems like they've got better things to do than play a stage in Disney World.
But do
these
they?
bands
Yeah, no, you're right.
They're no longer the big bands anymore. They've kind of moved out of that era. So something to think about.
The only one so the only one I look at and I go, okay, well then, there's still a decent size act is Boyz II Men, right? Like outside of that, the rest of them, you're completely right? Like
Boyz II Men has been around longer than a lot of these bands.
You're right, but I feel like they're still pretty popular, right? Like, and I mean, they've got some American Idol people on here, right? Like I don't watch American Idol, but I know the name Ruben Studdard. I saw, we didn't even mention him. And then I think Philip Phillips, right? That guy's American Idol, sure. Yeah. Maybe
we just totally tap danced around August 13th to the 14th. The Bacon Brothers are playing.
I don't even know who the Bacon Brothers are, but we were.
You don't know who the Bacon Brothers are?
No, who's that? Oh, is it Kevin Bacon?
Yes.
Oh my God, it's Kevin Bacon. Okay, yeah, I actually, yeah.
And Chris P. Bacon.
Yeah, I forget. Chris P. Bacon. Wait, so Kevin Bacon doesn't have better things to do than to play EPCOT?
No. Sheila E. I would see just because that would be interesting. I mean, there's people I would go see if I was walking by.
If you just happen to be walking by.
Yeah, like I would stop and but like there's not a lot of people I'm going for. Yeah. I don't know, man. I've just been told I got to go pick up Mother's Day food, so that's it for me.
You've just been given an assignment?
I've been given an assignment. Yeah.
Good luck, Damon.
Yeah, may the force be with me. I know. Thank you.
I mean, I feel mildly embarrassed that I realized the Bacon Brothers was Kevin Bacon. I mean, I knew Kevin Bacon did music, but I didn't know like it was under the name the Bacon Brothers.
Well, I mean, why not?
No, I mean, I just didn't know. I mean, I knew, like I said, I knew he played music, and he did a song in that Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. But like I just didn't realize that he was doing it under the Bacon Brothers. Like I was unaware of this. But again, like how does he not have better? Like it's Kevin Bacon, man. Like,
well, but that's exactly the point. Is that he has the freedom to do something like this.
If he doesn't ride Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, like I'm going to be really disappointed because it feels like he's very integral to the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. Right?
Yeah. Well, are you going to go to EPCOT and tell him when he's there? Like,
yeah, I'm just going to go find him, and I mean, I think he knows at this point, right? Like he's aware of this. Yeah. I mean, like he's aware that he's in, a joke in those movies, right? So,
I don't think he cares as much as you think he cares.
Probably not. I guess not. I don't know, but.
I think 30th. His brother's name is not Chris, by the way. That was a joke for anyone thinking that was serious.
No. His
brother's name is Michael. If their parents named one of their kids Chris,
that would have been amazing.
Chris, yeah.
Well, I'm just looking at Philip Phillips and like, what are you doing there? Like, I don't know if that's his real name or not, but like, if your last name's Phillips, why are you going to name your kid Philip? That's just. Yeah. Oh no, that's his actual name. That's his actual name. Okay.
There's some. Yeah, I don't know.
That's just weird.
Or I guess is it? Oh no, yeah, he is actually. That is his proper name. I was going to say sometimes they'll do name changes for celebrity reasons, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't name a Philip Phillips song. I have no idea, so couldn't tell you. Just not my. Yeah.
Most of these, like Damon was saying, I would stop to like watch these for a couple of minutes, like as I was walking by. None of these I'm like, oh boy, I got to be there for this concert kind of thing, right? And I guess, I mean, it's in EPCOT. Like you're not. I don't know. I guess I'm not going to EPCOT with the intent of going to see a concert, but I guess I also wouldn't just go see a concert either. So. I'm probably not the right audience for this. No,
I know that's fair. I mean, part of me is like, there's none of these. I agree with you. There's none of these I would like go out of my way to see, right? Like like I said, I think it'd be kind of cool to see Ray Parker Jr. do the Ghostbusters song, just because like that's a song that just like literally pops in my head like occasionally since I was like, 10. So probably younger than that even. But
I was 6, I think, when
yeah,
I remember listening to it.
Yeah, I mean, so like I'd be interested in seeing that live, but like, do I need to see Hoobastank? No. Like, do I need to see Sugar Ray? I mean, I don't know.
I like Sugar Ray.
Sugar Ray was fine. Yeah, like I would see Sugar Ray. Like if I happen to be there October 8th and 9th, I'd probably spend some time and go watch them for a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, or just stand in the back of the American Pavilion and eat some food and listen. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean that's the thing too, being that it is food and wine. You can hit up a booth and while you're eating, get a show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Trevor, I'm thinking in the interest of time this week, because it is Mother's Day and we should be spending time with our wives and children, that maybe we should
we should do the ad.
We should skip our random ride this week. I think.
We'll come back to it next week.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and do our ad.
All right. This week it is DVC Rental Store. DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. As always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 382-7368. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. Or if you're on the website, make sure you hit the drop down and select Welcome Home.
All right. So now for the big news, right? The big news of the week. I purposely saved this for later in the podcast, just to make people listen past 45 minutes. So
to our bacon discussion.
I mean, that's the most important discussion that we'd have. I'm very passionate about bacon. I love my bacon. So anyway, I was just looking in the Discord while you were reading that, trying to see if I could do a poll on who likes crispy and who likes not crispy bacon.
Oh boy, you're gonna make me do this now. Okay.
No, we really don't have to. I really don't care if people don't like crispy bacon. I just thought that was more of the common thing, that people like their bacon crispy. But okay, I'm wrong about this, obviously. So, so Disney made a whole bunch of announcements last week, all in one post, really, which is interesting. But they basically said 5 updates to make your visit easier. So the first thing they're doing, and this has been rumored for a while, but this is going to be happening. They are going to be getting rid of theme park reservation requirements for date-based tickets. This means if you are buying, your tickets between, a range of dates, you will no longer need to make park reservations. Just simply buying them will be essentially your reservation for the parks. This will be starting January 9th, 2024. So we still have a good, half a year here until this starts. But good thing in the right direction, right? I mean, this is I know a lot of people hate the reservation system. And so good news, it's going away for the most part. It's still going to exist for pass holders and, for tickets that are not date based.
Yeah. So, I guess that's the thing to keep in mind is, it's not that they're dropping the system entirely. It's that it was an extra step for like date based tickets that, anybody that's not big into Disney, I can see where it was just an extra layer of confusion and, well, why do I have to do this? I've already paid you for a ticket for this day. Right. So, they're simplifying the system and, making it, they're making it, easier for not just date based, but they also have for the annual pass holders, they have those good to go days now, which apparently, So for
in 2024, they're introducing those. Is what they're saying.
Yeah. This is all coming next year, so this isn't happening immediately. This will be starting 2024. And the idea with that is, for pass holders that I'm assuming it'll be generally quieter times a year or quieter days. You'll be able to just go, but I assume you basically don't assume if you have an annual pass that on a Saturday or Sunday that you'll get good to go days because those will usually be pretty busy days, and I'm assuming Disney will want people to book reservations for those days. So it's still a step back to, the way things were, as much as people love the way things were, even though it's not the way it was.
It's it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the pass holder reservation thing started before the pandemic, though, right? Like that's, I mean, at least at Disneyland, it didn't, I don't think at Disney World, but Disneyland it did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, these good to go days are an interesting idea too. And then that's in addition to their recent update, which is actually already live, where they can visit, pass holders can visit theme parks after 2 p.m. without a reservation, except on Saturdays and Sundays at Magic Kingdom. Everywhere else, they can just walk in after 2 p.m. So that's good too. I mean, that's a nice piece of this.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead. Sorry, Trevor.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that the next thing was the extended park times for.
You skipped over the dining plans.
Oh, well, okay.
We saving that for last.
All right. Actually, no. Let's talk about it now because, okay. First of all, I'll never use the dining plan, so I guess it never.
I mean, listen. This was huge news, though. This was huge news for a lot of people. I know. And I noticed here too they use very specific language, bringing back our fan favorite Disney dining packages because there used to be 4 dining packages, and now they're going down to 2. Now, listen, I don't believe this until I see it, right? Because last year they said they were going to bring back the dining plan, and then they didn't. But now, again, this is January 9th, 2024, so I guess they're putting a date on it. And they're saying that it'll be open for bookings at the end of May. So, all right, I guess it will happen this time. But guests will be able to choose from 2 popular options: the Disney Quick Service dining plan, or just the straight up Disney dining plan. So you'll notice that they got rid of the deluxe plan, and then they had recently launched right before they got rid of all the dining plans. I think it was Disney Dining Plus, I want to say, which was an in between. It's interesting to me they got rid of the deluxe plan because to me it feels like the deluxe plan was probably the one that they made the most money on, but I could be wrong because it was super expensive. But at the same time, you got a lot of entitlements on it.
I think the thing is that it may have been the most expensive one, but that doesn't mean they were making the most money on it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, they gave a lot out on it, but I also think that there was, I know people that did the deluxe plan that ended up with a ridiculous amount of snack credits that they never ended up using, or, just ended up burning some of their dining entitlements because it was a lot. I mean, it definitely was a lot, but it was good for character dining because you got more of the entitlements. So. You could do the character meals, and which were typically 2 entitlements. So that was great. But I mean, listen, I guess this is a big positive. I've talked about this on the show before, right? The dining plan is great for some people and not great for others. It really just kind of depends on how you do Disney, right? Because we used to get the dining plan, and I one time we decided to kind of keep track of how much we spent in cash, and then how much we spent, on the dining plan, and realized we spent a lot less when we did cash than what the dining plan costs. But I know, it's, that's unique to us, right? Every family's got different things. Mm-hmm. I know other families, they save a lot of money by using the dining plan. So it really just kind of depends on your situation.
Yeah. And the thing to keep in mind, and a lot of people ask this, is it's the dining plan's popular for a lot of people because they'll get those promos where it's you pay for a cash room and then you get the dining plan for, I'm using air quotes, for free, which it's really not because they adjust the rate of the room. But so that's the first thing is, a lot of people like it for that is, it becomes a one-stop shop thing. You get your room, you get your food included, and then you don't have to think about any of that, which I understand. For DVC members, though, we always have to pay for the dining plan. There's no promo where it's or I guess I shouldn't say there never is, because they may decide to do it at some point or something a discount or whatever. But we always end up having to pay cash for the dining plan. To your point, when you figure out how much that costs versus what you spend day to day in the park. Again, my situation it was very hard to justify the dining plan. And especially back when my son was younger, we could actually get him on the kids dining plan. It was kind of close, but then also knowing the way that my kid eats and everything, I knew that it was going to be way too much food. And, now that he's older and, he would be on the adult dining plan, it may make sense, or like the adult one may make sense now. It definitely didn't make sense when he was like going just from, that transition from kid to adult, because they do it like 10 years of age, right? So it's like after 10, you got to pay for adult, which, an adult dining plan for a 10-year-old is not going to work.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is that it doesn't, like you said, you kind of have to look at your own situation, decide if it works or not. The other, or one of the things I find funny here is they actually say right in there, they say, both plans will provide a great value for families with young children with access to many spectacular foods and beverages offered. So I feel like they're definitely targeting this at that, you'll have like, 2 adults and then, kids on the dining plan kind of thing. It makes me wonder, like I said, when the prices come out, which they come out May 31st.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really curious how their pricing works, because I don't know. I'm just getting the feeling that, it's not, everyone's thinking that this is going to be a deal, or this is going to make things go back to like how it was. I don't think it's going to be as good of a deal as you think it is.
You're saying it's going to be a lot more expensive than it used to be?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, the price used to go up on it every year, basically, right? I mean, it used to go up.
Yeah, but people are still going to be stuck in, I paid this much for it in 2019.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be some sticker shock when the prices come out.
Well, and you kind of talked about too, like the free dining promotion that they used to do, right? And like you said, you make up for it by paying full rack rate on the room. Typically when they've done that promotion in the past, they've given you an option. You either get the free dining plan or you get a discounted room, right? And I, when I used to have the travel agency, like there were times where the discount on the room actually was more than what the dining plan would cost them to add otherwise. You know what I mean? So like, yeah. It just kind of it depends on everyone's situation, whether this is a good thing for them or not, and depends on how people do Disney. But look, I'm all for them bringing this back. I think it's good to have more options. I think it's good for the people that like using the dining plan. Sure, go. This is great for you. I mean, like I said in the past, we had done it back when we would just do the packages and pay cash and not do DVC. But I think it is different for DVC members, like you said. And I mean, truthfully, if they ever had a discounted dining plan for DVC, I'd look into it. I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I would, work it out and see if it worked out financially and take a look at it. But to your point, Trevor, in the past, it's, just not really been that good of a deal for our family, or, it sounds like for yours either. So, yeah.
Actually, one thing I should point out. So I read this, I can't remember where I saw this, but actually I should probably vet it, but this might be something worth investigating for anyone that might be curious. So to the point about the DVC cost for the dining plan, supposedly in the past, they would actually negotiate the cost once per year for the dining plan. So, like you said, they would raise the price of the dining plan, and sometimes it would be a couple of times a year, but the rate at which they raised the cost for the dining plan was not the same as when the dining plan would actually go up. DVC actually has its own contract for it, and they would renew it on a yearly basis. So that may be something to look into further down the road, that, it may be, the dining plan may cost more. Like if you just look on the website, maybe, here's how much the cost is, but you may actually want to check with DVC how much they're offering it for, because and this is where they don't offer a discount, but it may be perceived as a discount just because DVC hasn't raised the price up to the current rate, because they just do it once a year. Right. So,
I mean, I don't know about that. Yeah. But I will say, I mean, to your point, you just, brought this up too. If you're, a Blue Card member, of course, you get discounts between 10 and 20%, at most restaurants, right? So in a lot of ways, just having that discount is going to probably save you more money than the dining plan actually would,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the thing is that, that was also our thing too, is, looking at the discounts, because the discounts only applied to the sit downs, but that was enough to justify not getting it, because like the cost of the quick services was, it was cheaper for us to just go and pay for quick service than it was to do the dining plan, which makes me wonder, because they do have I know they have the quick service. Yeah. I'm wondering, like I said, I'm really wondering how these two plans are going to shake out, but I'm just getting an initial feeling that, it's not going to be as close to your daily park spend for food as you think. And I think for anyone that really wants to see if it's a value, you're going to have to bust out a spreadsheet and really break it down.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know a lot of people have dug really deep into the math on these things before. So, but okay, do you want to go back to continue on to the extended park time?
Yeah. So they're also going to continue to provide extended park time for Disney Resort hotel guests. So for all Disney Resort hotels, you'll have the early entry every day across all 4 theme parks, that's pretty impressive that they're like, because they used to do it like it was only certain days, right? And they're doing it throughout all of 2024. You'll just be able, if you're staying at a Disney resort, you'll have early entry.
Yeah, the only problem I have with it is I wish it was more than a half hour, right? Like it's only a half hour. Right. Like I wish it was like an hour, because like extra magic hours, when they used to do it in the morning and night, it was like a couple hours. It was it was significant. It's just such a. I mean, listen, I agree with you. I love that, because if you remember correctly, like it used to really, magic hours used to screw up like the attendance, basically, because if one park had extra magic hours that morning, everybody was going to that park that day, right? Like, yeah. So it for this, I like that they're doing it every single park every single day, because it doesn't make it so that people all rush to one park at once, right? But I just wish it was longer than a half hour. That's all.
Well, I mean, that may change, because they didn't actually specify the hours. They just said it's early entry. So
yeah, you're right.
They may change it. And then the other thing too is that they'll also be having extended evening hours on select dates for people staying at deluxe resorts. So that, for us, DVC folks, that's perfect, because, and for me, I'm more excited about that than the early entry, because early entry is really hard for me, and especially as I'm getting older. I don't want to get up because with the time change, it's effectively like 5 o'clock in the morning that I'm getting up, and I don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like there's very few reasons for me to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I know it's Disney, and I know some people say, but you're at Disney. Yeah, well, I'd rather sleep in and stay at the park until, 11 or 12 o'clock at night, because I mean, to me, the nighttime stuff is way more magical anyway.
I agree with you. Interestingly enough, I feel like the evening hours are almost like a kind of a white card benefit, a non-blue card benefit, right? Because it doesn't matter. It's one of the few things that you get as a benefit, even though it's not DVC specific, but you're saying it because it's extended to the villas.
Yeah, it's a default because you are staying at a deluxe resort. Yeah,
yeah, and it doesn't matter whether you have a blue card or not, right? So it's almost like it's a white card benefit, or non-blue card, whatever you want to call it, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine if the evening hours were blue card only? Oh man,
that'd be so mean. It just like feels unnecessary. Yeah. Like if they just had like a little asterisk at the end of this that says except for
flash your blue card
membership extras or whatever it is. Yeah. I know that they don't call it blue card and none.
I'll keep calling it a blue card.
I'm going to call that forever. I don't care if we don't have real cards anymore. I still have my card. Yeah, I still got my blue. I'm not getting rid of my blue card.
No. Why would I?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I almost never show the actual physical card. I mean, I always used to just show on my phone anyway. But I still have the card, and I'm still going to keep the card.
I always kept the card on me just in case.
Just in case.
Because sometimes you would get people that wouldn't accept it, or there would be confusion around it. But I mean, they're better about it now.
Around that one time. Yeah,
they're better about it now with the wallet. Yeah, because the wallet thing is like I think they've all been trained on it. So like when I was there last time, I just you have the card in your Google, or my Google Wallet in my case, because I have an Android, and Yeah. So I would just show it and they're like, okay. So, yeah.
You know, Trevor, this is like an annoyance I have as being an Android user, is that every time I go to use, to use Google Pay, to pay for stuff, they always go like, Apple Pay, and I'm like, there's things that exist outside of Apple. I just so person at the store. Anyway.
That technically Android is a much larger ecosystem than Apple.
Listen,
because Apple is only.
I know this, Trevor.
I know.
The guy working at McDonald's doesn't seem to.
Yeah, because he probably has an Apple phone.
I know, but
fine.
it happens
there's
all over the place. It frustrates me. It's like, I'll just take my phone out and go to scan it, and they're like, "Oh, Apple Pay." I'm like, "No, not Apple Pay." Anyway,
you know what? Okay, sorry, you're going to get a rant out of me because you started this. So
this is a weird shit today. We're talking about bacon and Apple Pay.
At my job, where I deal with a lot of different companies, and the amount of companies that ask us to do stuff with Apple phones is mind-boggling. When like Android is a lot easier, but it's because the management is like, well, I have an iPhone, so let's get our iPads and everything set up, right? So and
it's so funny, Trevor, because most of the IT people I know are Android people, right? Like,
because we know better.
Like every time I know somebody that's like from IT, I'm like, they're always Android people. It's funny, but yeah. Anyway, we're offending all the iPhone people. Listen. I also too get mad because Apple is so intertwined with Disney. Like, all these cool phone cases that they put out, they never put them out for anything other than iPhones, and it makes me so mad all the time.
Well, you can find certain ones now, though. Like the Samsung ones are becoming more common, but I don't use Samsung either. So.
I don't use Samsung either. So, oh man, I here with my Pixel. So
yeah,
anyway,
we're in the Pixel Club.
The Pixel Club. Yeah, we're in the Pixel Club. So anyway, bacon and phones today. I should just call this episode called Bacon and Phones is what the episode should be called.
Yeah, do it.
Bacon and phones.
All right.
And everyone's gonna be like, what happened?
Yeah, we got one last thing here. Just
this is the most interesting one, I think, actually.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm just gonna read this out so that people have context on this. We've heard from our guests that they would like ways to plan with the Disney Genie Plus service and individual Lightning Lane selections before the day of their park visit. And we want you to know that we're working on ways for guests to do this for visits in 2024. So that's, and they don't have any details on it. So basically they're just hinting at Genie Plus and Lightning Lane is no longer going to be a day of booking thing, which, the initial thought around that is, well, are they going back to, 60 days out, like fast, like we're going back to fast passes, right?
Yeah. Like, cause it's like, they already did this, right? Like where it was both, right? Like you could plan ahead, but then you could also add more the day of. Like in a weird way, I want to just be like, can't you just like go back to the old software? Like just, I think the bigger problem here is that because they made it variable pricing, I don't really think that they know ahead of time how much they're going to charge for Genie Plus on a given day. You know what I mean? Like,
do.
Yeah, but that far in advance, like, do you think they know 60 days in advance that they're going to charge X amount of dollars on that day?
So I don't think they're going to go 60 days in advance on this.
You think maybe like next day before or something like that?
I think it may be like a week or 2 weeks potentially because they want to avoid putting themselves in that position again where people are booking stuff so far out that it's impossible for people to walk in and get it, right? I think the whole intent of this is that and also I have to wonder if what they're going to do is they're going to break up the same day and the ahead reservation. So like they're like this is my opinion, or this is speculation on this. We're doing reckless speculation, and okay, they'll give out a certain amount of Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes, like up to, let's just say 2 weeks ahead, is my thinking. Okay. And so then for people that want to plan ahead can do so because from my point of view, it would be like, hey, I know my trip's coming up. I know what I want to do every day, or I know which parks I'm going to every day, book those ahead of time, and then I've got them, and then I don't have to think about it the day of. But then for people that like to be more spontaneous, I don't think they're going to allow for all of the bookings to be done ahead of time. I think they will leave part of them available the day of. So you'll still be able to get up and do the early Lightning Lane booking, or not Lightning Lane, but like Genie Plus booking and all that kind of stuff, and getting into virtual queues and whatnot. But I think they're going to try and find that middle ground, because I think that they know that the old way was not sustainable. Yeah. But I think that they've also heard some feedback that, like me, some people are planners, some people, want to not be scrambling the day. Like it kind of alludes to it in what they said here is, not everybody, wants to be on their phone the day of going into the park, or it's sometimes very, it's derailing, right? Like, you want to get up, you want to go with your family to do stuff, but it's like, hold on, I got to get on my phone quick, and I got to book this, or else we're not
refresh every 10 seconds, right? You got to refresh. Yeah.
So I think they're going to try and find a middle ground with that. I hope it's not the 60 days, because that would,
I don't think it will be.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be that far ahead of time. I don't know. I just don't see it. So one of the other sentences they say here is, our goal is to give the opportunity to spend less time planning in the park and more time enjoying your visit with friends and family. So like exactly what I was talking about is that they don't want people, or they don't want people getting back to that point, because the other side effect of the multiple days out was that you kind of get this gray market of people that, or what was happening before, for anyone that doesn't remember this, was there was people that were figuring out weird loopholes that they could book fast passes without actually having a park ticket. Yeah. And then they were actually selling that as like, they were basically doing Genie Plus before Disney was Genie Plus. And they were selling like they were basically scalping fast passes. Yeah, pretty much
doing, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about this is, because Genie Plus is paid, I can't see somebody going and paying a bunch of money for Genie Plus only to resell it. Like, I don't think there won't be the same opportunity to capitalize on it without there being some risk of loss. Because, if you're like, hey, I'm going to book a bunch of Genie Plus and then sell it to people. Well, if you don't sell off, a certain amount, you're going to lose money on it, right? Because you're not refunding your Genie Plus because you didn't use it that day. But then it turns into a whole thing with, trying to attach it to people's accounts and stuff like that. I
agree with you. Go ahead. Sorry, finish your point. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think this will be good. Like for anyone that's like, oh boy, we're going to go back to the way fast passes were. I don't think this will, because of the fact that there is a paywall with Genie Plus in the Lightning Lanes, I don't think it's going to be as chaotic as it was.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because I don't know if there's a system that's really going to please everybody, right? Like outside of what like Universal does, or what like some of the other theme parks do. And I saw a conversation about this. I think it was in the Facebook group, where somebody went to like Legoland, and right, it was like $100 a person per day to do the skip the line thing, right? Like, and some of the ones you don't have to make reservations. You just walk on to any line you want, which is great. But again, you have to charge a ton of money to do that, because you have to discourage people from doing it, right? Like, you can't charge what Genie Plus is charging, because it would just be too many people and they'd all be going to the most popular rides. And it's really inefficient. It's not a good way to do it.
It just becomes the new standby line.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Right. So like, if Disney wants to continue doing this plan where they're not charging a lot, not charging like, what other companies are doing, then they have to have some sort of planning aspect to it. Right. But to your point, there was, I didn't hate the 60 days out, right? Like, cause it was almost like, okay, I got that taken care of. Now I don't have to think about it. Right. It's done. Like, this is what we're going to do that day. And if I need to change it, I can modify it, whatever. But like, I got this right. I got this right. We're good. And then I can add more stuff if we want to. Right. And it just was taken care of and over with. But not everybody likes doing that. Right. Not everybody likes planning these things ahead of time. And some people like to do it, be more spontaneous than that. And so this almost feels like it's going to end up being a happy medium, where some people can plan ahead. Some people can just do it spontaneously day of,
Yeah.
that's kind of what it feels like, kind of like what you're saying, where there's going to be a tranche of, of reservations available, and then they'll make, a week before, 2 weeks before, whatever it ends up being. And then there'll be a group of them available on the day of. So like they don't get all reserved ahead of time. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, but I understand why they're not really giving us details on this, because there's a lot of ways they can go, and they're probably trying to get it right this time. It's not that Genie Plus has been, I know a lot of people hate it, right? Like I get it. I don't know how many people hate it just because of the cost, but when I paid for it, it was easy to use. It's not that difficult to use. It's pretty straightforward. And it works. I mean, it works well. It's just like the old FastPass system. It's not all that different. So like for me, it's like, I understand. I look at all of these things as Disney's listening to people. They're changing things for the positive, because this is what people are asking for. And so I think all of these are positive things because they're listening to guests and they are making positive changes. But of course, change takes time, and especially with something like Genie Plus, that is, they want to make it so it's as easy as possible, I think. And it's hard to do, but hopefully they're taking the time to really plan it out and really take some of the feedback they've gotten and make it better. So
the only other thing that I wish that they change is that Genie Plus, you need to be able to book more than one, or book the same ride more than once.
That would be nice.
That would be the only thing that I hope that comes of this, that like, with these changes coming, that, either they allow you, 2 times a day, or even, maybe it's, you've got, or I don't know, like, or you can, they give you like X amount of rides basically, and you can decide how you use them instead of being forced. Cause I guess that was my only takeaway from Genie Plus. And that's actually what kind of, made me decide not to, or I only used it in Magic Kingdom when we were there, because when I looked at EPCOT, I didn't feel justified in paying for EPCOT, because I got on everything that I wanted to get on, and like Lightning Lane wasn't included in the Genie Plus. So we just instead spent the money on, the Guardians Lightning Lane. But, the thing with Genie Plus was that, like, even in Magic Kingdom, we were like, okay, we can't ride Pirates again, or we can't ride Haunted Mansion again. I guess we'll just get on something, right? And it's like,
exactly.
But I could have gotten on Pirates again. Like,
you could. Yeah. I think it'll be interesting to see how many they let you reserve ahead of time, right? Is it just going to be 1? Or are they going to let you do 3 like they used to?
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder if maybe they'll have like, I wonder if it'll be like, kind of like park tickets. Like you can like get a bundle for X days or something like that.
It's funny you say that, Trevor, because I was just thinking that to myself. It's like, what if they tier it? What if they're like, if you pay $15, you can reserve 2 ahead of time, but if you pay $20, we'll let you do 3 or 4. Like, I could see that, and I would probably, for Magic Kingdom, I'd probably pay for the more expensive one and reserve 4 ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I that's an interesting thought. I don't know if they'll go that route, but it's interesting.
Or the other way I was thinking of is, you buy multiple days. So like if you commit to, I'm going to buy like 3 or 4 days of Genie Plus ahead of time, maybe that gets you either a discount on it or an extra benefit. Like you said, you can book or different booking windows or something. I don't know.
It is very funny to me though, Trevor, like how many people complain about Genie Plus costing money when like literally every other theme park on the planet charges an absurd amount for the same privilege. Like Disney's actually like in one way cheaper than everybody else by charging way less for this service than anybody else does. I mean,
think it's just people forget that there used to be ticket books.
Yeah, it used to be ticket books, yeah. Which was another way of controlling the crowd, right? I mean, like that was how they controlled crowds before technology. By the way, if anybody's interested in this topic, and I've mentioned this before on the show, but I know we have new listeners and also people don't listen to every episode. Like, if you're really interested in this topic, which I am, there's Defunct Land on YouTube did an absolutely fantastic breakdown of FastPass. The old FastPass system. I mean, and really, really, really explains like deeply why FastPass was a problem, and why they kind of had to get rid of it. They didn't really have much of a choice, and just like the inner workings of how it all worked and why they did everything that they did. Like, go watch it. It's an hour and a half, but it's like, if it's something you're interested in, it's 100% worth your time. Defunct Land does amazing stuff, but like the Fast Pass one they did is some of their best work. So
it was incredibly well thought out and explains
Great.
it very. Yeah. It explains the monster very well.
The monster, yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes, yeah. That's a really great way to describe it. I mean, there were things that they talked about in that video that I never realized, like, when they started doing Fast Passes for, parades. It was like, I never really thought to myself why they did that, but they really explained why they did that in that video.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right.
I saw this announcement, Trevor, and I immediately thought Trevor is going to be happy about this and excited for this.
Yeah, I think of the three of us, I'll be the only one that would be there.
I immediately saw it. I was like, oh, this is a Trevor place right here.
Totally.
So go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there's a new restaurant opening up in EPCOT this summer. Shikisai is the name, and it's a sushi izakaya type restaurant, which basically is izakaya is like you go in for snacks and beer kind of thing. So it's not like a Teppen house, like very formal sit down. It's very informal, but you go in and they've got a ton of different food here, which of course, unfortunately for Tom, being that it's there's a lot
not
of seafood.
My jam, man. I'm glad you pronounced all that too, by the way, because I was gonna completely destroy it. So
yeah, it's very, very cool idea. Like it's definitely it's a good way to get people, looking at this type of cuisine and it's bridging that gap between, going to quick service or going to like the very expensive Teppen house kind of thing. Like this is an in between, which is actually very much more my speed. The big problem for me is, getting the family to come along.
I was gonna say your wife and your son, right? Yeah. That's the problem.
Although I do see that, so there is a dish on here called, and I'm probably going to butcher this for anyone that knows it. Kararage chicken, which is basically like, it's just deep fried chicken at the end of the day, but it's actually really good. Like it's done a little bit different than like KFC. But so you can get chicken and stuff. There are things other than fish on the menu, but they offer. Where did I see it here? Yeah, one of the notes is Kobore sushi translates to overflowing sushi, which means the item is overflowing with flavors. Which is like, this is kind of like at Food or Flower and Garden Festival when we were there, is like you get something that like it's got a bunch of different things on it, which in this case they like doing tuna, salmon roe.
This boat shaped platter is pretty cool with all this stuff. Yeah. Like they literally a platter that looks like a boat and then it's just filled.
Yeah,
with
sushi boat.
Yeah. I thought was cool about this is that they mentioned that you experience the essence of Japan's seasonal festivals where each month brings a new celebration to your table. So it seems like that every month the menu changes, right? Is that for depending on the festival? That's pretty cool. I like that idea.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's that's very much a thing in Japan, is that they like certain, like you said, certain times a year they will have or like if you ever go to Japan, that this is kind of how they operate, is that and actually, I guess the closest equivalent that I could explain is like how in the fall, like everything's pumpkin spice flavored.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's the same kind of thing as like throughout the year they have like, oh, this time of year it's this flavor, right? And so you'll get a lot of dishes that follow that theme, which is very cool. And yeah, it sounds like they'll actually have like the servers there will kind of be walking you through what the significance of the food is to the festival and all that kind of stuff, which is,
it says the cultural representative from Japan will guide you through each unique festival experience one bite at a time. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Cause I love learning about that stuff too. Like it's not, I enjoy eating sushi, but it's also like, learning about the culture and stuff too is very cool. So this is a great opportunity that for anyone that wants to, learn more about the culture in addition to eating some good food. I would recommend trying something like this out.
I just as soon as I saw this, I was just like, oh man, Trevor's booking this place as soon as he goes.
Well, I'll have to make some negotiation with the family because we have limited time at EPCOT, and Garden Grill tends to trump everything, especially since we didn't get to do it last time. So I'll be making a PowerPoint presentation of like Cheeky Sai versus Garden Grill.
I also see here too, and I don't know if you mentioned this, by the way, it says in addition to a full menu, there will be an open sushi bar and grill on the second floor of the pavilion. Ooh. So I don't know if you saw that piece, but
I missed that actually. I was just
it's kind of buried in here. So,
so there's a floating bar.
Yeah, so also an open sushi bar and grill on the second floor of the pavilion. So that's cool too.
Yeah.
Yes, it's funny that they're just announcing this now, and you said it's opening this summer, right? You said,
yeah,
that's cool.
I get the feeling it's because of the way, so you're thinking of like the Space 220 versus this, right? Like,
yeah, it's just weird they didn't announce it ahead of time. They're just like, hey, new restaurant, open a couple months.
Yeah. I would think it's because the pavilions are kind of they're run in partnership with the country representatives and all that. I get the feeling it's probably it's more that somebody from who runs the pavilion was making the decisions more than Disney, and it's probably that they didn't want to. Disney's not going to go and say, hey, they're looking to do this thing because, it's not them that's in control of it, right? So they can't really advertise it until they know for sure it's happening. So
that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So, well, I'm excited for you and for everybody who's excited for this kind of restaurant.
You will not be joining me for sit down here. Even they have chicken, Tom. You can get good chicken.
Listen, save it for your pitch to your family. Save it for the PowerPoint slide. You got to wait for the full menu to come out so you can highlight certain dishes and be like, here's what
there's steak and it looks cooked.
Yeah,
like.
it looks cooked.
Well, and there's tempura. Tempura is always good. I mean,
there you go. Yeah, you can get that. Tempura is good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's deep fried everything.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I read this whole thing and I was like, oh man, this is a very Epcot World Showcase kind of restaurant. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it fits in so nicely with the the kind of restaurant they have out there. So, So anyway, I don't know if you want to wrap up, or I'd put this whole thing about the Return of the 40 years Return of the Jedi merch, but I don't know. I'm looking at it. None of it's really jumping out at me like I'm interested in it. So.
Yeah, can we? Yeah, let's. Okay, May the 4th was last week. Can we just not talk about Star Wars for a minute? No,
we must. The Star Wars must be talked about at all times. Disney needs to continue to pay back all that money they spent. Paying George Lucas off. So, I mean, I feel like they've more than made that money back at this point, right? Like,
I feel like you made me click on this link and I scrolled down and all I saw was a Han and Carbonite mini backpack.
I mean, it's kind of cool.
That's cool.
I kind of like that cool. Yeah. That's the big one that I saw that I really liked. I mean, the rest of the stuff is whatever, I feel like. I mean, okay, the Death Star waffle maker. Okay. Sure. Yeah. That's fine. Some of the Lego sets look kind of cool. All right. The Revenge of the Jedi, the socks look ridiculous, but
I would actually consider wearing those socks to work.
Yeah.
Not because I'm like all about Star Wars, because it would just be, something different.
Yeah, no, I get that. It says Revenge of the Jedi on them, right? So, and it's got like Darth Vader on it, and it's got Darth Vader, what's on the foot of that? Oh, the same design is actually on the suitcase too.
Yeah, it looks like the Luke versus Vader fight, but yeah. And there's displate stuff on here now. Okay,
what is displate?
Displate are
metal posters.
Yeah,
dude, these posters actually look really cool. The middle one with, I mean, Actually, all of them are cool. I mean, if I were more of a Star Wars fan, I would buy one of these. They're pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
No, not feeling them.
No, I would not. I would have nowhere to put that.
Yeah, but I agree. But I like them. I think they're cool. So
yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we need to say about the Star Wars merch. I mean,
Yeah, I think that about covers it. And yeah, we should probably wrap this up because I'm sure our wives and mothers are waiting on us. So
they are.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I guess the difference for me is I know my son is he's off doing stuff for my wife right now, whereas your daughter is not quite at that point yet.
My daughter's taking a nap, so that's we do. This podcast is going to get way harder once my daughter stops taking naps because I always try to record while she's sleeping. So,
but when she gets to that point, she'll also be more self-sufficient. So it actually does get easier when they get older.
That's true. I'm going to miss nap time though. It's like my little break time.
Anyway. Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap up here.
All right. As usual, if you guys want to reach us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your emails, people sharing their own trip reports, asking questions, all that kind of stuff. So keep it coming. If you want to follow us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast and Sam on YouTube. You can also check out our Facebook group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, and join in on the conversations that are going on. Damon has started this whole point war thing. I'll be honest, I haven't really been keeping. Well,
we can't even participate because you and I post through the podcast, so like it's not like we can. Damon has his own separate account that he can earn points on.
Well, but we can combine our points as the podcast. So
I guess so.
We have that advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of Damon's points probably come from, or like the podcast account points would be, a lot of the stuff Damon's posted. So we can actually, take that from him.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Outside of the points thing, no, it's actually been, love seeing the conversation on there. Love seeing people just talking Disney and all that kind of stuff. So, if you want a good Facebook group where people are excited to talk about Disney and it's fun and respectful and all that, please consider checking us out. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us there as Welcome Home Pics, which, anytime we go to the parks, you can always keep up with our posts on Instagram. And if you'd like to help support the podcast, you can go let me try that again. If you'd like to help support the podcast, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merchandise. There's t-shirts and mugs and stuff that you can get. And if Patreon's more your speed, you can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our different tiers of support. Patreon users also get access to our Discord server, which is a little bit more intimate conversation. It's all kind of in the same vein as the waitlist group. It's just lots of people having good conversation about Disney stuff. So if that's of interest to you, please check it out. And as usual, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review because it does help more people find the podcast. And we love to have more people listen to this because we think it's good, and we hope that obviously other people think this is good enough. So please share it with your friends. And if you're on iTunes, leave us a review because we do love to see those. Do we have any new ones this week, Tom?
I mean, sorta.
Okay.
I'll tell you why in a second. My first listen every week, Tom and Trevor drop the weekly Diz news in the way that isn't stuffy. They expand and speculate in a conversational way. An active listener group keeps the show well-rounded by supplying the host with a variety of fresh questions. Oh, I also really like the special guest guy, Damon, that they have on occasionally. He is funny. Haha. Why I said kind of is because this review is from Turbo Redneck, who is I'm pretty sure it's Jeremy. Turbo Redneck, I believe, has reviewed us before. So I don't know if this is an updated one or a new. I don't know. I think it's Jeremy. I could be wrong. I don't know.
That's not fair. I don't.
You don't think
I don't want to assume
Jeremy?
it's Jeremy. Yeah,
I think it's Jeremy. Just guess.
They'll have to reveal themselves at some point.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, Jeremy.
Or not.
You need to tell us. So,
It doesn't.
you need to out yourself. You tell us, Turbo Redneck. We need to find out. But I'm almost positive I've seen another review from Turbo Redneck before. So, anyway.
All right.
Also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any place you can find podcasts, you can find us. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company. As such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a Disney cast member or a DVC representative for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsor, DVC, not Resale Market.
Rental
DVC
store.
Oh my gosh. DVC Rental Store for sponsoring this episode. And of course, World of DVC for continuing to be our partner in this crazy podcast that we do. I don't know why they partner with us, but because they do, please go and check them out. Support the people that support us. We appreciate it. What were you going to say, Joe?
I was keep with that. We want our sponsors to know that we love and appreciate them. So.
We do. No, we absolutely do love World of DVC. We really do. They have been so great.
They are fantastic.
And we are genuinely friends with the people that work there. Literally, we've been doing this show for 6 years now, and Nick was one of the first people on this show, like literally a couple episodes in. Mm-hmm. So, they have been with us since the very, 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 very beginning of the show. So we cannot be more appreciative of them. I'm not saying bad things about them ever. So
no,
they're amazing.
Every person we've met has been fantastic. Like, we've met so many people from World of DVC at this point.
And they keep adding people, so we keep meeting new people. So, yeah. And Jody was on last week, and she's fairly new, and she's been great. And she was great. So, listen, everybody's been great there. And I know so many of our listeners have done business with them, and on the business side, they're just as great as they are on the podcast side. So yeah, please work with World of DVC. They're a huge supporter of us, and please support them too. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.